That is it. That is all. Terence Bud Crawford makes it official, rejects the notion that he could come out of retirement to face Jaron Boots Ennis, stating he really has nothing to prove. Wishes Boots Ennis well on his journey, but he ain't coming out of retirement for no dang Jaron Ennis. Let's talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy, Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Jaron Boots Ennis, masterful performance against Xander Zayas. He dethroned the champion by brute force, dropping him 3 times and really destroying him. He won mostly all the rounds, although the fight was competitive. There was a bit of resistance, if you will, from Xander Zayas. And nevertheless, the boy Boots was out there shining. I mean, I ain't even gonna hold you. Jaron Boots Ennis, you should put him in the pound for pound list, in the top 10 somewhere. And the kid is must-see TV. Ooh. Combos for days. I mean, just look at what we're dealing with. Xander Zayas, he got to work out getting his head off the center line, because when Boots, I spot him, I got him, right? He started really going to town and teeing off on the boy. Wow. Ooh, he lucky that didn't land. Body shot was nasty. Boots, that was a subtle body shot that was nasty. Boots has a very sneaky body attack too. He don't just head on it. Oh. Oh. Barclays Center looking lit. Now, Xander Zayas, I don't even know how he stood up to some of these shots. So you got to give him credit in the durability department. I think his size helped him absorb some of that punishment. But the downside for Xander Zayas, although he's young, I don't know if he'll be the same fighter. Like, I mean, look, he getting... That's a lot of punishment. Like, this is one round, one moment from one round, and he took punches like this from a thunderous puncher throughout the whole fight. You know what I mean? And he was getting put in the blender. So again, a lot of people, that's why you don't see me on my channel really raving about, oh, this guy's tough and oh, he showed a lot of heart, because that heart will get you hurt. You know what I mean? And really shorten your career. There's a lot of guys who stood the test of time. Like, I'll give you some examples. David Morrell. All right, he went in there with Benavidez, another murderous puncher, and stood up to it, even dropping Benavidez one time. But then ever since the Benavidez fight, Morrell don't look the same. He got dropped by the Russian dude who popped, right? And hurt in that fight. And then he gets stopped by a substitute teacher in the Zach Shelley fight. Bermain Stavern. He fought Wilder. Wilder really knocked him down, I think, in the first round. And he took 11 more rounds of punishment from Wilder. I'm talking about the first fight, right? Later that year, he get dropped by Derek Rossi. And I don't know that Stavern was ever the same, like later fights after that Wilder fight. So fighting a guy like Boots is detrimental to your career if you let him get off on you like this. Mm. To be honest, the fight could have been stopped right then and right there. Like his team, they should have pulled the plug. You have a young kid, you got to save him. Now, for today's video, Terence Crawford was on Sean Porter, the Porter Way podcast, and he has some interesting things to say. We'll start with this. Play the clip.
You know, it's Boots era. I pray and hope that, you know, he take it to the extreme. I pray nothing but success for him and his family, you know, and all in all, it's all about competitiveness. And people want to see, you know, this generation, how would they do with the previous generation? The same way with people comparing me to Floyd. We'll never fight, you know. So I wish him nothing but the best. I want to see him succeed, you know.
Now, I do notice that there's a lot of times where Crawford, he's very passive aggressive. Like you could tell he got this far in his career being a competitor and being very competitive, not wanting to lose, because you would hear that message and you would be like, all right, he's showing mad love to the youngin, to Jaron Boots Ennis, who actually, he just turned like 29, I believe. He had a birthday. But you hear that and you're like, all right, Crawford was being cool. But then you look at his social media last night and he had like a snarky type of tweet that everybody knows was pretty much sneak dissing Jaron Boots Ennis. Like, I got a lot to say, but I'm going to just keep it to myself. So Crawford is a competitor, and I noticed that he does a lot of passive aggressive stuff where yesterday night after the fight, you're kind of like alluding to, insinuating, and subliminally getting at Boots. But now you're like, I wish him well. People are all, you know, you're being the bigger person. And then also in the same interview, he said this, play the clip.
I don't worry about coming back to prove anything, because me coming back and proving something to people that it doesn't matter, what never matters to credit Boots. Like, he's a tremendous talent and he's no walk in the park for no one, you know. So he's a threat to anyone that he step foot in the ring with. He got tremendous speed. He got great power, defense, reflexes, all that, you know. But the only thing that I can say is I'm 10 steps ahead of him. Like, I'm 10 steps ahead of him in smarts. And I think, you know, that's where he'd get in trouble. I don't worry about.
So again, that was a little bit passive aggressive. Everything else was like cordial. And it looked like Crawford really want to flex, but he don't want to go all the way in. So I don't know. So the bottom line, all the people, shout out to all the people who support the channel, but they're hoping and praying for this fight. That ship has sailed. Bud just told you. He said he's not looking to come out of retirement for him. So it's like, unfortunately, we live in social media times, which has hurt boxing. That's my perspective on it. And the reason being is it's just too much talk nowadays. Like, you have people on the sideline and, you know, at times Crawford trying to bait Boots conversation and like, hey, man, I you know what I'll do to him. Like right here in the Porter Way podcast, he's pretty much keeping it cool. But then there's a recent interview not too long ago from Gilly and Wallow podcast where he was like, man, I'll do your boy Greasy. And he was talking spicy, like, man, I'll F him up. You know what I mean? So again, real passive aggressive from Crawford. And then the downside with social media is we don't get to see it. It leads to nothing. So there's not going to be an end result. All the people picking Boots to beat Crawford. All the people think that Crawford is way too advanced for Boots, who, you know, kind of got hurt by Xander Zayas in that third round. So that's the unfortunate thing with social media is we don't get a conclusion. There's no like real closure here, but it don't sound like the two will fight. It is what it is. So again, with social media, it makes for weird times because it's like, what's the point of this interview? And like, I'm 10 steps ahead of him. He can't see me. My ring IQ is too much. Turkey wanted to make this fight. Different people feel Boots ducked or Bud Duck. I don't really even care to play the blame game. I just would like to see it. And if I can't see it, then let's just move on. You know, what's the point of kind of fueling the rivalry and then Bud's not going to come out of retirement and feels like his legacy is already cemented. I don't need him. You know what I mean? I don't really understand the passive aggressive stuff. That's why Boots said, we're not worried about a retired fighter. You know, we're going after undisputed. And I think that's the right approach. Boots, he's an active fighter. He's not retired. So let's just focus on that. So unfortunately for all the people expecting this fight, don't look like it's going to happen. Hype me up. Shout out to everybody for joining the watch party last night. We had a blast. Congrats to Boots on his victory, unified champion in a new division, and bigger things to come. Boots is a special talent. Looking forward to what's next. The Crawford situation looks finito. Shout out to everybody for the cash apps and the super thanks, donating to the channel so I can invest in more equipment and upgrades for you guys. And now I guess it'll just forever go down as a fight that could have been and a fantasy fight of who would have won. Let me know what you feel. But Crawford Boots is done.